Hear a good bully story? I won't lose my place. You guys want to hear a good bully story? Here's a good bully story. We had this guy, I won't mention his name because his family still works in this town, but he was the bully in our school. He was the biggest guy, and he was just mean, you know, and I was a little kid, and I was really shy, believe it or not. I was really, really shy, and I hardly said 2 words when I was a kid. I never talked. And if you knew my mom, you'd understand, like, my mom never said 2 words. Like, you never heard from my mom unless there was something of spiritual significance to hear. And then everybody shut up, including my dad, who never shut up. And everybody listened when my mom spoke because it was wisdom from somewhere else, you know? And so I was a really quiet kid. I was really shy. And if anybody's met my sister, she's been here a few times to church. She lives in Idaho. You sat down and talked for any length of time with my sister. My sister is one of the most intense people I've ever met in my life. Hands down. Am I right? She's gnarly. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just that she's very intense and very gnarly, like my old man. So we're very different in that way. So I'm at school, and this guy is feared on the playground. And I dreaded recess. You would think all the kids are like, recess! Not me. I'm like, there he is. And he always aimed for me because I was the weakest, or one of the weakest little kids who was shy. And I was like, I was that kid. Everything changed when I hit my teenage years. Then it was like, payback! It's payback time! But not when I was little. And so this one day I'm out in the playground and everybody's like, let's play dodgeball. How many people play dodgeball? Is that? Okay, so most of you don't know dodgeball with the big red ball, the rubber ball. So it's dodgeball time, and there's got to be, 70 kids in this circle, right? I'm in the center. You remember that? Being in the center of the circle? And you're like running backwards really fast, and the ball's all, and some of those guys just could, they put their all into it. They're just the most violent guys in the school, and they're like, death! They throw the ball, it's the ball of death. Death to you! Death to all those who would whimper and cry. Here comes the ball, And you're like, please, Lord, let me duck it so I don't look like a geek, And you're dodging, and you're like, whoop, whoop. And the ball's flying everywhere, right? It's such a good game. We got to have a game of dodgeball. I want to identify the bullies in the room. I want to identify the mean people. And we're going to pray for you the hardest. So I'm in the middle, and I'm dodging this ball, and I'm like, shoo, 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 right? And this kid, the bully, like anytime the ball goes over to his side, he like elbows people out of the way and gets the ball. So he's always ball hogging. And for some reason, I am the target of him. I'm like, what is your trip, dude? And every time he throws the ball, there's 15 kids in the circle. He's got to go for me, right? So this is so gnarly. So he does one of those death throws, and it's going like 1,000 miles an hour. And I don't know what happened, but I must have got paralyzed or something. And it just went like this. Correct! And I went straight back, feet out. I was off my feet. It hit me so hard. Clean down, down and out, down and out. So I lay there and I kind of shake my head and I'm like that. I didn't cry, but I did a whimper. I was like, because it hurt, man. And this is the coolest part of the story. My sister was there. And my sister is 2 years older than me, and I'm not exaggerating when I say this. I am not exaggerating. As an adult woman, now my sister has had radical drug problems, all right? Radical. I mean, if she were here, she could give a testimony that some of you guys think you're real bad. She would make you look like little school kids. My sister has done some of the most vile things imaginable. You think of the worst thing in your perverted moments in your head, she's done them all. I guarantee you she's done them all. I'm not disclosing anything she wouldn't tell you. She doesn't care. If she was standing right here, she'd be all, let's tell them. She'd be like, here's what I did when I was 20. She'd like, So she's heavy. No exaggeration. I have been at concerts where like bands are like, those kind of concerts. And I have seen in the front row my sister throwing down with guys. I'm not exaggerating. You think I am. I'm not. I have seen my sister holding a guy by his hair and going like that. with everything she got, just pummeling dudes. That's my sister. You think I'm kidding? I promise you. Pummeling guys as hard as she can like this. And I'm like, who's that dude fighting that other dude up there? And I'm like, that's my sister! You know? Hooray! Count me in! That is my sister. So, and she's always been that way. Always. So here I am, this little kid, I get knocked out. My sister, it's almost like everything just hushed. Everything went quiet. The ball bounced in slow motion. There goes the red ball. My sister's eyes went red. It was like she wrote, like there was a screen across her forehead going, "This man shall die." That's what was going on. She's on the outside of the circle, and I was on the inside, and the guy was on the other side of the circle. So she just looked straight at him, looked at me, looked at him, and started walking across the circle. Totally true story. We're little kids. She probably doesn't even remember that. She walks across the circle. This is so cool the way she did this. I still can see it in my mind's eye. And he had a surf t-shirt on, like a Natural Progression. Most of you don't even remember Natural Progression. It was a surf shop in Malibu. Yeah, you remember. And he had a little Natural Progression shirt, and it had like these like rainbow colors on it. And he thought he was so cool, you know, he was like the cool surfer guy. And he was older, and my sister walked across, didn't say a word, silence. She walked across, reached up to his pocket on his little t-shirt, and went, rip! Tore his pocket off, threw it down. Threw his pocket on the ground. How cool is that? So cool, right? She looks at the guy after his pocket's now on the ground, and he goes, "You," and I won't say what he said. Like this, he raised up his hand, and with everything she had, and we have a term for this, which I won't use this morning, with everything she had before he did anything, she just went open-handed. Slap! Everything she had, his face went, spit shot out of his face. It just went, his whole body moved. She hit him so hard in the face. It was just like that. When his face came back up, she reached up with one hand. I'm not exaggerating. She reached up with one hand and tore out the biggest chunk of hair I have ever seen. It was like half his head of hair just left. It's like he's wearing a toupee. It's just like gone. She reached up, just tore off his hair and threw it away. It's like, bye to your little pocket and bye to your hair. And then the icing on the cake was she just started pummeling the dude. Just pummeling him till like the whatever that thing is on the playground. You have what are they called? Aids. Yeah, like the teachers, whatever they are on the playground people. So they all rush in and they get my sister. And they had to pull, it took 3 of them to pull my sister off. Could you imagine the damage that someone like that could do if they were focused spiritually? Could you imagine if we actually did the necessary work of getting this temple clean that we might actually see, hear, and feel? What kind of things would we see and experience and actually change in the unseen realm, which is the one we're supposed to be operating in? Right? Could you imagine if everybody, not just a couple people, which is what we're used to, but if all of us actually hunkered down, dug in, and started dealing, and started seeing, and started hearing, and started feeling, we'd be like, whoa. And we would see how powerful our Lord really is. Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah. I want those images of my sister brawling, when we were in, 4th grade or 5th grade or whatever. I want those images of my sister brawling. I want to take those on as an example of what I'm supposed to be like in the spiritual realm and what we are supposed to be like in the spiritual realm.